This is quite a special video for me to make. I've been running my YouTube channel for almost 7 years, and the game we're talking about today is something that I have referred to quite often. Whether I mentioned it in some of the earlier shovelware videos or made top 10 lists on this game, it's a game in a way that I feel like I've covered before. This is long overdue. It's a special review today, and a game that I truly believe is one of the best video games of all time. And that game would be none other than Super Monkey Ball 2, one of my favorite games of all time. It takes the fun challenge of rolling a ball through a maze and adds an addicting level of challenge to it. It's simple, but yet stupidly good. If you thought Super Monkey Ball 1 was good, which it was, then hold on to your seats because this game is freaking awesome. If you've been following my retrospective, you probably know how the game goes by now, but for those coming in for the first time, I'll do a quick rundown. Only for you guys though, because you are pretty cool. The objective of the game is to manipulate the stage's gravity to roll your monkey from point A to point B, which is the goalpost. If you do this fast, you get more points, and littered throughout these stages are bananas, which will give you some extra lives and points. The main game, per the last one, separates these stages via 3, well even 4 now, options, being beginner, advanced, expert, and now pickable from the menu is master once you unlock it. The harder difficulty you pick, the more stages there are, and subsequently, the more challenging these stages will be. Finishing a mode without losing a continue will let you play an additional 10 stages at the end as well. However, Super Monkey Ball 2 has another option for playing this game, being the new story mode, which has 10 worlds that each contain 10 levels, which you can choose and play in any order you wish. So this story mode here uses the stage from the main game's beginner, advanced, and expert, with the exception of the final world, which has its own 10 unique stages. So it's not insanely different on the surface, but it's still very different to play this game upon further analysis, which I enjoy a bunch. A banana bunch! Ooh. Before we look at the story mode, let's look at, well, the story. It's not a Final Fantasy story or anything, but for what it is, it's quite amusing. It's your standard video game story, there's not really any depth to it, but I also would hope they wouldn't overcomplicate it. The villain of our story, Dr. Badboon, yes, Dr. Badboon, wants to marry MeeMee, so he gets this giant sucking device that takes all the bananas out of Jungle Island, which is where the monkeys live, and pretty much holds these for ransom in return for her hand in marriage. He gets really creepy, to the point where it's like uncomfortable to read, asking for like massages and stuff, and he's like in a hot tub. It's dumb, and it evolves into your typical chase scene. The monkeys follow him from world to world, they get eaten by a whale, yeah, a whale. Then Honey, I Shrunk the Monkeys happens, except it's on purpose. This assistant is a king, and yeah, it's your typical zany Saturday morning cartoon, but charming. It didn't need to be anything complicated, and for what it is, it's quite enjoyable to follow. I know it wasn't the intention, but it almost feels like a satire with how cheesy it is, like, haha, the villain shows up and takes the girl, robs the island. It feels like they're almost making fun of, like, Super Mario Bros. Or something. At least that's how I always wanted to interpret it. One thing that kind of blows about story mode is you can only play as AiAi, which, like, why? It's not a big deal, but it's definitely a small oversight and missed opportunity. I hope in Banana Mania that this is fixed. To compensate, I used the other 3 monkeys during the footage for the main mode, so hopefully that rounds things out a bit. Give the other monkeys some attention, damn it. The characters, though, on the subject of them are so expressive. They all have their little personalities and charm, which reveals itself in their dialogue in the story, and also when you finish a mode, you get exclusive text dialogue per character. God, I love these characters. They are always just so charming to me for whatever reason. In Beginner, Advanced, and Expert, you only get a fixed amount of lives starting out. So the arcade ideology of the first game of staying alive and trying to minimize your mistakes is a priority there. But in the story mode, you are now given unlimited lives. This changes the dynamic of Super Monkey Ball quite a bit. You are now free to experiment however you want to with these levels without having to worry about points or extra lives, and it's honestly a relaxing and quite stress-free way to play the game. It does mean the returning practice mode becomes a bit more useless in comparison, but still holds an important place in the game if you want to focus on the competition mode regardless. The game's fundamentals do become a little different in these stages themselves. Like the bananas, which nabbing 100 of gets you a 1-up in the challenge modes, they're pretty useless here. You still get points, but like, I don't know, does anyone care? The bonus goals are also pretty negated. These goals are more difficult to get to, but often let you skip a few floors in the other mode, but here, besides the aforementioned points, don't provide you too much benefit. It would have been rewarding to complete a bonus goal and perhaps get to skip a stage on the world screen or something. On the main menu, if a stage is too difficult, even with unlimited lives, you're welcome to take a break and do another level of of your choosing. Choice is the name of the game when it comes to this mode, and I'm all for it. That's the extent of what has actually changed with story mode, and it's a great addition to the dynamic of this game. I do ultimately prefer the competition mode, even alone, since I do feel like the progression and general design of the levels fits it a bit more naturally. Also in the competition mode, you can play with friends, each tackling a level on the screen one at a time, taking turns. Here you don't earn points, but this will always be such a fun addition to any party. Either way, whatever you choose, you're playing Monkey Ball, and they are both fantastic options. On top of the differing main modes, the levels we're playing this time around are much more in-depth and have some extremely interesting additions. There's a lot more movement happening here. The most drastic change to the gameplay is probably the switches that control the stages this time around. Not only is this game about physics and precision, but now you need to craft your skill on timing on top of that. I know some fans don't really like these changes, but I personally think they add a whole new layer of depth to the game. And it's not like this game doesn't have its share of Super Monkey Ball 1 style stages either, because it definitely does have stages that sheerly rely on your ability to navigate with its physics. Although I will say, they kinda get carried away with these Switch stages sometimes, like Switch Inferno. Oh my god, we're literally in hell. There definitely are a decent amount of throwaway stages this time around. There are a weird amount of levels that look very hard, but you can just go straight. I can't tell this is like on purpose or not. The triangle stage, you would think it's either a miracle it lined up or like this, or they didn't test it, or they intentionally added this as like an Easter egg. Another stage from Expert, ironically enough with triangles again, definitely doesn't seem like it was meant to happen this way, which raises a few eyebrows. There are lots of clusters of stages in general. Another type are these cylinder type stages, and I really like some of them because they really test your ability to run the physics in this game, and then some of them I think are impossible. You need to cheese it in some way, which always feels a little disappointing to me. Returning from the first game are also the types of stages where you have like 5 paths to go onto, and some of them are stupidly thin. I think this time around they're a little more doable, but screw that. I mean, why would I do that when I can just get to the goal easily on one of the safe platforms? You think I'm really going to be tempted by a bunch of precious, stupid bananas? Okay, I'm going to try it anyway. Yeah, it's impossible. There's also a big clump of levels that are very maze-like. I kinda like these. Some of them are very dynamic, like the Switch stages, and some of them have me wanting to go up to an intercom and be like, hey, I lost my mom, I don't know where to go, please someone help, please. Because where the heck do you go here? Holy. Once you figure it out, or look it up on YouTube like most of the population, the general idea of the stages becomes kinda useless, the gimmick's up, but regardless, it maintains replayability for speed. The stages in Super Monkey Ball 2 are unconventional and wacky, but are undeniably brilliant and innovative. I mean, think about it. This is based around the marble in a ball game, but you can't have moving parts and switches and flying stages in real life. No, this could only be done in a video game setting, and it's damn genius and a great use of its hardware. The pacing feels much more correct than the first game. There aren't any insanely difficult levels that ruins your life early on. Don't get me wrong, there are still some very difficult ones. For example, in Advance, the level Domes is probably one of the most difficult levels in the entire series. It's kinda cheesable if you go really slow, and I never struggled too much with it, but I thought I'd point it out since most people really hate this stage. Arachnoid, the final stage of Advance, is really cool looking. Oh my god though, is this stage a nightmare to beat. Just a side note, I said arachnoid instead of arthropod. I don't know why I make this mistake. Like, this is really random, but I do that all the time ever since I was a kid. Like, I've always just called it arachnoid. I don't know if it's just some like Mandela effect thing or I'm just stupid, but like, I couldn't believe when I watched this part back and I was like, I called it arachnoid, dude. Okay, back to the video. There are 2 ways to go through it, the first being to wait around and try to get to the goal and most likely get hit off by the legs, or the second is just take a leap of faith and eventually get it, an approach that works much better in the story mode because you have unlimited lives. One thing that's super neat and that I didn't mention in Monkey Ball 1 because I've been slacking is that you can save your replays, which saves to the GameCube memory card taking up X amount of blocks. I love this feature, and I'm really mad at myself I forgot it from the first game. This game was really ahead of its time with this function, and I had a blast watching back replays I saved years ago. Super Monkey Ball 2's graphics are also a huge step forward for the series and look beautiful to this very day. One thing that's interesting about this game is that along with being able to play it in 4:3, you can additionally play it in 16:9 in 2002, like holy! Like yeah, it's technically not real 16:9, there are still a little bit of black bars, but it's amazing that this is offered in any way, and in progressive scan no less. So this presentation is a smooth 60 frames per second, 480p in widescreen. This game was like stupidly ahead of its time. This could almost be released today, and I don't think people would treat it much differently. The backgrounds are extremely detailed. The lava stage in particular, I think looks breathtaking. And when you compare some of these backgrounds to the later entries in the franchise, it's almost insane how much better the graphics look. I always use the lava from Banana Blitz as an example. It's night and day in comparison with its detail, and again, this game was 2002. I mean, we were all cavemen in 2002, playing on our CRTs and going to Blockbuster, and Super Monkey Ball 2 just says, F all that, we're from the future, we're not messing around anymore. This might be the best looking game on the Nintendo GameCube, or at least one of them, and again, could have debatably been released on current consoles today. Not only are these graphics good, but the themes and stylistic choices, oh my god, are the themes good. They're for one, super unique. There's your standards, you got your grass, lava, ocean, blah blah blah, but then you have stuff like an environment inside of a whale's mouth, which sounds gross, but there's like this cool underwater city there. There's a clockwork place, which sounds kind of boring, but has a beautiful ocean view behind it. There's a washing machine in a Japanese-influenced backyard. Some stages even double up, and get two backgrounds, as some stages have different themes based on the story mode, which provides the player some great visual variety. And the music that accompanies these stages, oh, incredible. There's even a rap song that uses a sample of Clock Tower. Now, how awesome is that? And that's a testament to a game's music being good, if I've ever heard it. I was originally going to do like a fun scene where I listened to it and reacted to it so I could show you guys, but this is it's YouTube, so I'll get banned, but I'll put a link in the description. Presentation of the graphics and music, as stupid as this sounds, is one of my favorite things in a video game. Not just here, but ever, and I don't know why. It could just be nostalgia, yeah, but I don't think it is. I can't explain how this game has such a big hold on me. It's just a comforting presentation. I never get tired of it, and no game could replicate something like this. I'm nerding over it a lot, but I seriously love how this game looks. It's cozy, it's visually impressive to this day, and I think that's why fans were so opposed to how some of the future entries look, because you miss out on a unique and special style that really could have only been created in this era. Super Monkey Ball 2 sets a very high bar for future games in the series to follow. The play points this time around are pretty different. For those who don't remember, play points are the points you earn by playing both competition mode and story mode. You not only earn them from completing the stage, but also for the extra bananas and points you obtain during the stages. This time, you can unlock 6 additional party games, whereas the 6 from Super Monkey Ball 1 are already opened. But new to this game is sort of a gift shop. You can buy an extra life, as opposed to an extra continue, for 500 points a pop, and buy each cutscene from the story individually. You can also buy the credits game, which, yeah, the credits game isn't as complex as Super Monkey Ball 1, it's just kind of like a 2D version of it, but it's fine. I actually like that it's more simple, and I enjoy the creativity behind trying to make the credits unique to each game. Anyways, you can buy it instead of just doing beginner and gaming over it or something if you really wanted to play it. This shop provides a lot more depth to the points, and even if you don't want to watch the cutscenes again, it's still nice to be a completionist and unlock them. Being able to raise your life count to 99 instead of purchasing continues definitely has its advantages. It eventually becomes more of a story mode mentality in the main mode, where because you have so many lives, you feel more comfortable trying out a riskier play rather than just trying to make things as safe as possible. It's not like this is a free 99 lives either, like you seriously do have to grind for these play points, so when you don't have them, the game is still very different. But eventually you do get there, and this is what makes Expert very viable, but still challenging to beat. And hey, if you want the game with a challenge just like the original, you don't have to play with these 99 lives. You can still choose 3 from the main mode, so customization is the name of the game here, and again, you can really play this game how you want to. As someone who couldn't beat Expert in the original, I really love this change. I feel like everyone is accounted for here, since the first game was not kind to players who just weren't able to beat it. While there is accomplishment from being good at a super hard game, there's a point where you want to feel like you can beat it without having to invest hours upon hours in trial and error. Super Monkey Ball 2 in general feels like it belongs on a home console rather than being an arcade game, something where the original fell very short. And I feel like that's why story mode was added, and even small changes like entering your name feel adapted to the console it's meant for. And if playing these levels weren't enough for you, they really are only half of the game. In Grand Monkey Ball tradition, there are the iconic party games, half are sequels succeeding the first game, and there are also 6 new party games added as well. Monkey Racing is the first game we're going to look at, and I honestly get somewhat frustrated with this game. I guess it's not that different from the original, which I kind of glossed over, but this one feels more slippery. I think the issue is you don't really have much, if any, control while you are in the air, so when you go flying, it's kind of just pain. This is because you control the gravity of the stage in the main mode, but can't do that here for obvious reasons because there are other people playing with you. It feels really different from going from the main mode to this because of such, and the stages just don't accommodate this too well. While I do like the stages visually, I think some of their designs are kind of just not built for the physics of this game. My favorite one is the one that's shaped like a heart, because it's kind of simple and there's lots of curves. And the Clockwork Tower stage as well because it has straight lines. Making a turn in monkey racing is just something you do not want to have to do ever. What makes things worse are that there are these pseudo ramps that send you flying unless you significantly halt your speed. There are also bumpers just littered throughout these stages. In the main mode, they don't send you flying too badly, but here you run into one, you are a dead monkey. Often you just fall out, but once in a blue moon, you'll get hit by something that screws you so badly that you fly to the other end of the stage and swell like, okay, I just lose. It's so hard to get back from that. The items are kind of fun in a dumb arcade fun sense, but the ones that give you a speed boost just make you cry because you do not want to go past you. I think it's fun with friends in a chaotic sort of way, but my god, is this a chore to play alone. Monkey Fight is more of the same, but definitely improved upon. The base game is more or less that you press the A button to punch the other monkeys off the stage, and you can also nab power-ups that assist you in this goal. It's a fun party game though, and this time around there's a new mode, a sudden death, where the stage cracks apart as it happens. It's kinda weird because this game is not that good at being this strategic, but I do give them points for adding it. The stage design is a lot more dynamic, with moving parts that go up and down in the stages. If you liked Monkey Fight from Super Monkey Ball 1, you'll probably be happy here as well, and if you didn't like it from 1, you probably won't like it any differently. Monkey Target 2, on the other hand, is pretty different, and I'll say that I am all for the changes that they made this time around. For one, it's a lot easier to land on your desired platform. I generally feel like I had better control of my monkey here. When you're in the air, getting bananas is a lot easier as well, whereas the first game, I feel like I would never come close to touching them. And if you still feel like you are unable to land where you want, there are now items in the air that either slow you down or are a straight up magnet. I think some people don't like this change, since Monkey Target 1 did require a lot more skill. However, as a filthy casual, I really prefer this change. I felt like I could actually play it without, crying and bursting into flames. I highly recommend this version, although it's not like Monkey Target 1 was bad. As for the sport-like games from the first game, they're mostly improved. Monkey Billiards has so many more customization options this time around, being able to play with many different rule sets, including a classic game of 8-ball. The background is really creative too, being set in some sort of Wild West environment, with AiAis drinking milk at the bar. It's a positive improvement, and I really enjoy this version of the game. It's your classic billiards, but with monkeys, and honestly, immersive. I found myself losing myself in this, and this might be my favorite billiards video game ever, period. I even wanted to reboot the game up at times for another round of this 8-ball. It's such a good addition. Monkey Bowling I also find to be very improved as well. Yeah, there's still the main bowling mode from the first iteration, but there's so much more added here. My personal favorite is a mode where the bowling lane shifts as you roll your ball. This is so Monkey Ball. It fits perfectly, and I'm so happy they gave this to players who may not be able to do the multiplayer, their own in-depth side mode. The normal bowling is, normal bowling, same as the first game, with the twist that you can turn left and right after you aim your shot. This becomes a pivotal feature in this challenge mode, so it does take something I felt kind of mixed on from the first game because it felt kind of cheap, and makes it a great addition in another mode. While bowling has gotten much better, unfortunately Monkey Golf, which I loved from the first game, is really different. The first game had much smaller courses, kind of like a mini golf, whereas this version of Monkey Golf has golf courses that are enormous. I mean, look at these. These are legitimate golf courses. I don't think this fits Monkey Golf as well as the original, unfortunately. They are quite impressive to look at a first glance, but end up being too big for their own good. It takes a lot of time and a lot of shots to get from point A to point B here, and I find that the courses being this big takes away a lot of the creative stage design from the first game that made it so good. It's not like this is bad or anything, but it's very different. So yeah, the sequels to the first minigames are kinda hit or miss. Target and Bowling are very much improved in what I prefer, but this time around they end up doubling the amount of minigames, making the total from 6 to 12. Okay, so these new minigames are kind of weird, but I don't think they're bad. There's a few good ones in here, but there's stuff like Monkey Boat, which I find to be really awkward. Monkey Boat's a cool concept. You use the L and R buttons to shift through the water in a boat race like you have paddles, but I, for the life of me, and I seriously tried, could not control it. This is seriously difficult and makes playing the game and objectively talking about it really difficult. There's an item that makes you a submarine, and funny enough, I found this to be the best control I felt I had over my monkey. I guess this mode looks nice at least, I don't know. I think it could have been a cool concept, but the execution was, yeah. Monkey Shot is a cool addition at least. It's essentially an on-rail shooter, but it takes you through the backgrounds from the main mode, which when you go through this you realize how stupidly detailed they are. It's your simple shooter. You have to be a little careful with your ammo, and you can't fire your shots all in a row because you'll have to reload at points, leaving you vulnerable to getting attacked by these killer butterflies. I'm not good enough to make it anywhere far in this game, but it's a nice addition. Kinda weird in a monkey ball game, like it really didn't need to be here, but it strangely works enough. I guess Amusement Vision wanted multiple minigames where you shoot stuff, so we also have Monkey Dogfight. The concept of this game is to fly around and shoot down the other monkeys. Ooh, yeah, get destroyed, you damn ape. I think this game is, like, aggressively okay. It's not bad, but I don't find it very intuitive to control. It uses the flight physics from Monkey Target, which I personally feel makes the flying come off very sluggish. Once you get shot once, you're kind of just dead, that's it. It's brutal to recover from. You can fly around and get these, pineapples, which kind of act as big shots or grenades. Okay, if these are actually pineapples, that's really cute. I don't know. It's not a bad game, but it doesn't do much for me. Monkey Soccer can be pretty fun, and it's pretty funny. When your monkeys score a goal, they all do a line dance together, which always makes me laugh. It's your standard soccer game, but difficult to follow and sometimes control. There's a lot going on, and when I pass the ball to another monkey, I usually don't even realize I did so. I think the camera maybe could have been a little better as well. The game feels okay, but I think this one would have been more fun anyways. There's also a PK mode? Listen, I'm an American. Look, I'm calling it soccer, not football. So I don't know anything about this. What the hell is this PK thing? Turns out it's not this penalty kick thing. It's called Pick'em, and this is the most research I've ever done on soccer in my entire life from a video game about monkeys, so that's cool. But yeah, you just shoot goals over and over in this mode. It's kind of fun. I don't know. I could take or leave this minigame as well. So this is awkward, but I ran into kind of an issue here where my game disc doesn't actually read Monkey Baseball or Monkey Tennis. It makes sense with how old my game disc is, and I played these over 15 years ago, but I did need to ask to find some game footage. Fellow Monkey Ball reviewer and good friend Ninja's JeffCompass was able to record some game footage for me to fill in for these parts, so thanks Ninja. Hope that banana milkshake tasted good. Monkey Baseball is probably my favorite of the 6 new games. It feels like its own thing instead of trying to replicate how it would play out in real life, which makes it work a lot smoother than some of the other golf games. Instead of the ball you hit soaring through the air, you simply roll, which works very nicely and keeps things very simple. At the end are a legion of pits to fall in, and the one you land in will determine how many bases you get to move. If you go up a ramp, you can get a home run. It's very simple, but I like how the stages look, and it's quite addicting. Monkey Tennis is the last game, and yeah, it's tennis. I don't know. What do you want me to say? Pressing different buttons results in different amounts of power into your shot, which is nice, and you can play it in singles or doubles. The stages also have different statistics to them, such as physics and the bounces, and are also pretty good. Similar, I don't know, it's tennis. Minigames are a big part of the game. There really are 2 parts to this game, and I think that the new ones are kind of hit or miss, but the ones that hit are brilliant and a great addition. They did try for each of the previous 6 minigames to seriously improve them, so I really appreciate that even if some changes weren't perfect, that they weren't just trying to copy and paste from the old days, and that is the theme of the entire game. This is quite simply just a better version of everything that came before it. This game is great. I truly believe that Super Monkey Ball 2 is a masterpiece. It will forever be one of my favorites of all time. For years, I wanted a return to form. Newer Monkey Ball games definitely lacked some of what was special from this game. This wasn't the direct end of the golden age of Monkey Ball yet. We still have a few titles to go, but it almost does feel like the end of an era to me, since it's the last completely new and big one. Super Monkey Ball 3 was heavily rumored, but never ended up happening. But maybe the golden age isn't completely dead. I mean, Banana Mania is bringing back the older art style, some of the old songs, and just in general looks really good. I feel for once we're being listened to as fans, and I'm really excited for the future of the series. So over here in this retrospective, while we may be starting to dive into some muddier waters soon, there are still going to be lots of positives now and in the future. Anyways, thanks for watching. As always, make sure to follow, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and tune in next week because we are playing a game still released in the golden age of the franchise, which was released on one of the best and most influential consoles of all time. No, I'm not talking about the PS2 or the Xbox. I'm talking about the Nokia N-Gage. Yeah, we're going there. It's getting a separate review. Monkey balls to the wall.